Welcome everyone to the first episode in the tried and true EDC Micarta series. Today I have for you the elusive Zero Tolerance 0562 MIC. 0562 is a collaboration where Rick Hinderer, a US knife maker, collaborated with Zero Tolerance, and they used his XM18 design. Let's take a look at some measurements. Full length of this is coming in about 8 1/8 of an inch. We got a cutting edge that's about 3 5/8 of an inch. And the handle is looking like 4.5 inches. The width, that looks to me at about 1 3/8 of an inch. And then we got the thickness coming in at slightly under 1/2 inch. See how much this weighs. 5.54 ounces. So my personal preference is slightly heftier, but it feels good in hand. Lets you know there's a knife in your hand when you're carrying this. Let's look at some comparisons to some other popular models. I have your Benchmade 940. Got your Spyderco PM2. As you can see, the overall length is quite negotiable between all three of these knives. Clearly between the 940 and the ZT, there's a lot more belly on the blade, much heavier. And between the ZT and the PM2, overall you got more cutting edge on the ZT. Yeah. And when I first mentioned at the beginning of the video, this design is after Rick Hinderer's XM18. So this is the XM18. This has a slicer grind, which is also replicated on the ZT. This is also a slicer grind. And you can take a look. They've done a great job recreating the design. ZT did a great job. And I'll probably put out another video where I do a more in-depth comparison between these two. All right, let's talk about the blade. So we got a nice stone wash. This is a drop point with a slicer grind. And I believe, my understanding is that the flats go up higher. And this is the swedge right here. You got your Zero Tolerance or ZT logo on the blade presentation side. You've got the model number. Gives credit to Hinderer. And Kai is the parent company of Zero Tolerance. It is made in the US of A, and it is Magnacut steel. It's kind of neat. They do serialize all their numbers. They serialize all their models. So while it's not, I wouldn't say limited edition, which ZT does make limited edition knives, but they tell you, you know, in which order of the production this was made. This uses a flipper tab for opening. And these thumb studs are used as a blade stop in addition to that bar right there. So when it locks up, you can see it contacts there, and these thumb studs contact top of the scale. There's also jimping on the blade right here. So if you need that additional traction, you can throw your thumb up there, really lock in. It's not very aggressive, so it's minimal jimping in my opinion. The flipper tab acts like a finger guard, so let's talk about the handle. This is one of the many variants of the 0562 model. This one has a Canvas Micarta scale with the titanium lock side. You've got 3 body screws. This is all using Torx screws, by the way. And this is for the clip. But it also doubles because it goes through a standoff, which also creates additional contact with both scales. So additional stability. It's got the pivot screw right there. Got a lock bar insert. That's a screw for there. It's contacts. You can see inside where the insert is. It's got a lock bar stabilizer, LBS, which is mimics what the XM18s have. For where the micarta side is, there is a liner, as you can see. And yeah, has a little bit of a cutout to give you a little bit additional relief to access the lock bar. It uses all standoffs. And lastly, in case I didn't mention, it's a frame lock. Just push that out. Let's talk about the pocket clip. In my opinion, this model has one of the better deep carry pocket clips that comes from the factory. And one of the reasons why I say that is because the pocket clip screw is recessed enough so that way when you're sliding this into your pant pocket, it doesn't snag on the clip screw. So you can see it doesn't really stick up much. There are a lot of deep carry pocket clips where with the clip screw, it will contact the material in your pant pocket and sometimes snag onto it, which can also deteriorate and wear out your pant pocket. The retention is very good, I believe. It's not too stiff. It's got a good amount of ramp right there. And decent enough space to where it should hold and go over most thicknesses. So let's take a look at that in the pocket. Go. Basically disappears into your pocket. For those who like deep carry pocket clips, this is a great option. It's a great knife that has that option. Decent amount of space left over to get your hand in there. If you imagine it's sitting right about there, you'll notice it retention gets a little tight right there. So you do have to give it some type of additional force to be able to slide it in. But the retention is not too difficult for it to be taken out. Let's talk about availability and price point. Last time I checked, this is widely available I got this on sale for roughly 250-ish. It's slightly higher than that. It's hovering around the $275 mark, I believe. But as I mentioned, there's also different variants, different models. They have a carbon fiber scale side, they have a G10 scale side, they have a full titanium version. So lots of different options. There's a lot of aftermarket parts for this as well. So definitely can customize and make this yours, you know, depending on how much customization you put into it. It could increase that price tag overall. But you're looking at about $275, and it is on a lot of the major online retailers. And confident they're probably available at a lot of brick and mortars as well. Let's talk about my final thoughts. This is the third variant of this model from Zero Tolerance that I've had. The first one I had was a G10 variant with the LMAX blade. The second one I had was a carbon fiber variant with a CTS 204P blade steel. And I sold both of those off. And then when I saw this deal for this one, I actually think I got it for less. So it's probably around $225. So it's basically $50 off what's currently the MAP price for these. I felt like, okay, well, I missed this knife in the collection, so I went and grabbed it. But it's great. I like it a lot, and I think if you're someone who's either familiar with Zero Tolerance, you would probably agree that this is a great option to Hinder's design on the XM18. If you're someone who is not familiar with this, if you can find it for a discount, even if a used one on a secondary, you can probably find one around slightly over 200, depending on how much use is seen. But I would say this is worth a try. This gives you a lot of good grip. You get 4 fingers on there. The pocket clip is not a hot spot at all whatsoever. The reverse grip even gives you a little bit of chimping on this side, though I don't see it being that useful. But that feels comfortable on the reverse grip as well. I personally don't use a reverse grip, but it's there. Jimping is very subtle, so I wouldn't rely on this as something that would give you that too much of additional control and traction, but it really locks into your hand. My previous models I've sharpened up before, and they're fairly easy to sharpen. You know, as I'm looking at this blade, it's starting to feel more like a spare point than it is a draw point. But, I mean, you can definitely confirm that by looking at details online. Yeah. It's a great slicer. I've used it to break down boxes, food prep. It gets the job done. Thickness is a little bit thicker behind the edge than, you know, if you're looking for a slicing knife. Though this has a slicer grind, which helps it in many ways. The ZTs are typically, at least the older ones, were typically a little bit thicker behind the edge. So, you know, definitely choose your knife based on your needs, but this is an all-around great EDC. Some people have preferences on blade length, but this being around that almost about 3.5 inch cutting edge is perfect for majority of tasks, I would say. Yeah, and you get to try a Hinder design without breaking the bank. XM18s on average are about $425, and it has a G10 scale that comes with it. So if you were to get the similar model from Brick Hinderer with a titanium lock side and a micarta scale, it's going to run you closer to $550 or slightly higher for a new one, because you would have to buy the micarta scale separately. All right, that concludes the review. Post your comments, let me know what you think about it. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate a like. Let me know if you have one of these in your collection, what your thoughts are about it. Make sure you guys subscribe, guys and girls, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get notified for the next review. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day and stay frosty.